You know, in today's world, the most important battles are usually fought in one long before a single shot is ever fired. They happen in total silence, on a battlefield you can't even see, with weapons that literally manipulate the invisible world around us, the electromagnetic spectrum.
So, how do you fight a war you can't see? Let's get into it. Imagine you're up against an enemy with a crazy advanced air defense system. It's like an impenetrable wall of radar and missiles. How on earth do you break through that? Well, that's the big problem for modern militaries. And the answer isn't bigger bombs or faster jets. It's something much, much sneakier.
And this is where the US military's answer comes in, the EA-18G Growler. Now, this plane isn't made for dogfighting. Nope, it's a specialist, an electronic attack aircraft. It is the tip of the spear, a ghost in the machine, and its entire reason for existing is to wage war on that invisible battlefield.
And flying this thing is a two-person job. Up front, you've got the pilot, whose whole world is just flying the jet and not getting hit. But the real wizard is in the back seat. That's the Electronic Countermeasures Officer, or ECMO for short. They're the ones actually fighting the invisible war, playing this insane, high-stakes video game with the enemy's electronics in real time.
So, what kind of tricks does the ECMO have up their sleeve? Well, they've basically got three primary weapons. First, there's spot jamming. That's the brute force approach. Second, they can create entire phantom fleets out of thin air to confuse the enemy. And third, a really clever tactic called the bait and switch, for when things get a little more personal. Let's talk about that brute force attack for a second. When the Growler's sensors sniff out an enemy radar's exact frequency, the ECM can blast over 10,000 watts of raw electromagnetic energy right back at it. This isn't just creating static. It's like taking a blowtorch to their sensors, just completely frying their systems and blinding the entire grid.
So now that we know the tools, let's see how they all come together in an actual mission. We're going to walk through, step by step, what an electronic strike really looks like, to show you how this invisible battle is planned and fought.
And make no mistake, this whole process is choreographed down to the second. For weeks before a mission, spy planes and satellites are busy mapping out the enemy's entire electronic footprint. Then, 30 minutes before the strike, the Growlers show up and just flood the air with noise, creating an electronic fog of war. At 15 minutes out, as the fighters get close, the jamming goes from a sledgehammer to a scalpel. They start injecting fake targets and scrambling data. And they keep that electronic screen up until every last plane is safe at home.
So here's the crucial part. This creates a terrifying no-win situation for an enemy radar operator. If they keep their radar on, hoping to see through the jamming, that signal is like a giant neon sign screaming, "Shoot me!" to a missile designed to hunt them down. Boom. But if they turn their radar off to hide, well, now they're completely blind as dozens of jets are roaring right towards them. Either way, it's game over.
And while all of that is going on, the Growlers are also busy severing the enemy's vocal cords. They jam the communication networks that connect all the missile batteries to their command centers, so what was a coordinated defense network just dissolves into a bunch of confused, isolated outposts that can't talk to each other and can't get permission to fire.
But this invisible war isn't just fought from the sky. Oh no, it is a multi-domain battle. You've got powerful electronic warfare systems on naval ships with ground forces. And some of the technologies that come out of that are, well, they get pretty unsettling. Take this real-world story. Venezuela had a powerful Russian-made S-300 air defense system, and their airspace was considered locked down. So the aircraft carrier, USS Gerald R parked itself off the coast and just unleashed an electronic barrage. It was so intense, it didn't just jam the Venezuelan radar, it burned their screens completely white. And while they were blinded, 2 Tomahawk cruise missiles flew in and turned those radar arrays into a pile of scrap metal.
And this brings us to the even stranger world of ground-level electronic warfare. The Pentagon has been developing what it calls soft kill systems. These aren't designed to destroy equipment, they're designed to incapacitate enemy soldiers without ever firing a traditional bullet.
The science behind this is something called the Frey Effect, and it is just wild. These weapons shoot a focused beam of pulsed microwaves that passes right through your skull. The energy gets absorbed by the water in your brain tissue, causing it to expand just a tiny bit, but very rapidly. And that generates an audible pressure wave inside your head, totally bypassing your ears.
And the effect on a person is brutal. Victims report hearing buzzing or roaring noises that seem to come from inside their own mind. Then comes immediate, severe vertigo, intense nausea. Some even get nosebleeds from ruptured capillaries. They are effectively paralyzed by the pain and disorientation, completely unable to fight back.
We work really hard to take these complex topics and make them easy to understand. So if you're getting value out of this explainer and you want to see more like it, taking a second to subscribe to the channel honestly helps us a ton to keep this thing going.
So what does all this mean? It means this technology has fundamentally rewritten the rules of modern war. Being able to master the electromagnetic spectrum isn't just an advantage anymore, it's an absolute requirement for winning. This quote, which came out of a simulated conflict, just captures the end result perfectly. When you do electronic warfare right, a powerful enemy isn't just blinded or slowed down. For the entire duration of the attack, their whole defense system literally ceases to exist.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of spooky thought. As technology keeps pushing conflict further and further into these unseen digital realms, the very definition of a battlefield is changing. So, when the fight itself is invisible, is the battlefield now everywhere?